Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with JDash, JK47, and Big Easy. We got our first pick show of the year, week 1. We're going to give you 5 picks against the spread. Before we start with that, Dash is going to let us know how we did last year and how I'm leading everybody in victories. Feels good to be a winner.
And picks. Not win percentage, though.
Hey. You don't have to win everything to be a winner.
Statmaster.
Well, listen, Jim, your all-time record is 40-49-1, but you had a bad playoff run. Your regular season record was 37-41. Your pick of the weeks, you're 10-9 in pick of the weeks. So that's not bad, over 500.
Please believe.
Johnny Parlay, who is not here, all-time 34-38-3. He also had a bad playoff run. He was 32-30-1 in the regular season. His pick of the weeks, he's 8-9-1. I am 34-31-1 all-time, and my regular season record is 29-25. But my pick of the weeks, I'm 9-2-1. So listen to me on this.
Even though he doesn't take his own pick of the week.
Please believe. Easy. You
Mofo.
are 21-1 all-time. Your regular season record, 16-16. And your pick of the weeks, you're 5-6-1.
You're all about consistency.
I believe in keeping it even.
However, you did make 5 college bets, and you were 3-2. So not bad.
Oh, we're going to have to start getting you to do a college pop of the week. Easy.
I believe in keeping it even. Well, I rung up college this weekend. South Carolina.
Boom.
Ohio State.
Up 2 boxes of ZD.
Up 2 boxes.
Gotta love it.
47, you never made a pick of the week, and you only picked the picks for one of our weeks last season. You went 3-2, though.
Up, Jeff.
So you would have made money if you put some money down on all 5 of those games.
Start coming to work more often, buddy. Is that it? Is that all of us?
Wait, just real quick comment from Jeff. Do you have any idea what you're doing when you pick these NFL games?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the spreads and things.
I understand.
I mean, not physically the spread. I mean, do you feel that you have a grasp of the how many teams are there? 30, 31 teams.
I don't think you have a grasp.
Do you feel have a grasp of all the NFL teams?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
okay. So last year you really went around. This year we're expecting you to do big things. Is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, we didn't hire you to do nothing. You got to get more than 5 picks in this year. 47. Come on, man.
All right, let's get this started.
All right, we're starting it off with the Colts at the Bills. This is Easy's pick of the week. The Colts are 2.5-point favorites. The over/under is 45.5. Remember, fans, this is Tuesday when we're doing this. The line will most likely change before Sunday, so don't just write in our comments. We don't know how to read lines because that's why.
Other books have got it at -3 already.
Yeah.
Is what I've seen. But
I just checked it a couple minutes ago, and it was still the same as when I did this morning.
I don't know why it is not more.
You know what? Buffalo had the 4th best defense in total yards allowed and total points allowed last year, and Rex Ryan usually trots out a good defense. And, I mean, obviously the home team, if they're not complete garbage, usually gets 3 points right away. So it's actually kind of like a 5.5-point line if you really want to think about it, which is kind of right where you would think it would be.
Yeah, if you ask me, I almost took Buffalo. In fact, I said Buffalo at first. I mean, I like what they have on the defensive side, and they added a little bit on offense as well. But then I thought Tyrod Taylor is starting this game. This is his first start, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
So
he had some backup roles in Baltimore when he was there with Joe Flacco.
So I can't take Buffalo in this game. It just... The Colts are too much offensively.
Shady McCoy might not even start in this game, which hurts both of my fantasy teams. The thing that's surprising to me is the 45.5 line, or over-under. That seems a little high considering a Bills game, even with the Colts coming to town. Beginning of the season, over-unders are weird. It seems like if you take the over a lot in the first 2 weeks, just take it in every game, you're going to win. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think a big matchup in this game is the Colts offense who is supposed to be high-powered versus a very good Buffalo defense. So we'll have to see how that portion of the game turns out. But the Colts defensively, they're all right. I think they can handle Buffalo's offense, especially if McCoy doesn't play. So I'm going to say the Colts win this game.
Easy, this is your pick of the week, and you like the Colts. How do you think the 2-point conversions will affect the spread throughout the season? You think it's going to change over-unders at all?
Throughout the season, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I don't see teams going for 2 like they in the postseason how it was going and all that.
Preseason, yeah.
Preseason, yeah. They score a touchdown, they're going to be kicking the freaking point.
I believe so too,
They
man. They were
gonna
just
be
saying
playing
in this.
around.
They were saying in our Steelers segment, man, that they're going to be going for 2 a ton.
I don't know.
In bad weather, I think you'll see it more often because you're closer to the goal line. You don't want to
possible.
risk the field goal.
So 47. What are you saying here?
I'm liking Indianapolis in this game. I think it's all going to come down to quarterback play. I think the Colts have it. I think Buffalo doesn't. Another thing you're going to want to pay attention to.
What do you think about Tyrod Taylor, 47?
I mean,
Is he your new best friend?
no.
Are you going to draft him on your fantasy team?
If he throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, we'll
Runs
see.
for 100 yards.
Yeah.
He might. Luck will just throw for 500 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Well, listen, it's Colts -2.5, -3, something like that. That is the kind of line I like. It's low enough where I'm going to take the better team, and the Colts are the better team.
all day.
So they should be, they should be going deep in the playoffs. Where Buffalo, they're a fringe team that might be in the hunt for the playoffs later down the season. But the better team here, the line's small enough. Colts definitely.
Yeah, Johnny Parlay agrees. First game of the year for the spread. First spread sweep. Love it.
Lock it.
Next game we got is Kansas City at Houston. Houston is -1. The over-under is 40. This is a tough game. Kansas City had a good defense last year. Houston had a good defense. Neither one really has a quarterback, if you ask me. Alex Smith is the better of the two because Bubby Hoyer is complete garbage. Alex Smith is just serviceable. Alex Smith kind of got a wide receiver there now, and Jeremy Maclin, who is also on my fantasy team, so hopefully he does good. So I don't know. I'm hoping that Kansas City can put up points in this game. It's going to be tough, though.
Well, yeah, you look at it. Houston, they have a big playmaking defense. But then I look on the other side, and Alex Smith he's not a great quarterback, but he's good at controlling the ball. So maybe he's not going to turn the ball over too much in this game. And then on the defensive side for Kansas City, they're very good. And I look offensively for Houston. They got Bubby Hoyer, quarterback. Arian Foster is the best player on his team, and he is definitely out for week 1. So that's a big loss. Well, you look at Kansas City, they got Jamal Charles. You said they brought in Jeremy Maclin. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is probably the best player on the offense for Houston. I think KC is a well-rounded team, and they can definitely go into Houston here. And again, I'm going to say it again, the better team, a small line. So I think KC can go in here and beat Houston.
47. Neither one of these teams even allowed 20 points per game on defense last year. Do you think it'll get over the 40 over-under?
I do not.
I think the one way that it could go over if there was a bunch of defensive scoring in this game.
Yeah, you could get that. Houston's defense is going to be even better this year than last year, I think. J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney,
I believe so,
freaking
too.
Kevin Johnson they drafted. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys are beasts. Vince Wilfork they added into the mix. That D-line's scary.
You're right.
Scary, son.
Houston does have the better defense in this game.
Yeah.
But KC's defense is no slouch. And then I look on the offensive side, and without Arian Foster, there is no doubt KC has the better offense. And
Yeah.
it's just a little bit too much for me. And I would
No
have
doubt.
no doubt what?
They have a better offense.
KC?
They didn't even score a touchdown with a wide receiver last year.
Well, they didn't have any wide receivers last
They
year.
still don't.
Jeremy Macklin's the man. You love Jeremy Macklin. What are you talking about, man?
I
And
love
then
him,
you
but
look in the
one
backfield.
dude don't come in and win a game in hostile territory for you.
Well, let's look at the backfield, man. Yeah, Houston should have Arian Foster, but they don't. Maybe Alfred Blue gets the majority of the carries in his game. Then you look at KC's backfield, Jamal Charles, one of the best running backs in football.
Yeah, I'd give the nod to Charles, no doubt, and the nod to Alex Smith, quarterback, no doubt. But the defense is going to be too much. The defense is going to be just too much.
Well, how is KC's defense going to handle Houston's offense, in your opinion?
You would think that they would play him tough, but they don't. Personally, I don't know what to expect from Houston's offense, and neither is Kansas City. So that takes
That's
the
a
edge
wild
away,
card.
if you ask me.
Houston's going to try to be more of a power team and an efficient passing team. Kansas City is a running team, but they're not necessarily a power team where they're going to run over you. They like to run around you, do some cutbacks with Jamal Charles, get him the ball in the open field. So I think Houston being at home with the crowd at home, and I think they have the better defense. There's not a huge gap for me between Alex Smith and Bubby Hoyer, and you're right, Dash, the backfield in Kansas City is better, but I'm going to have to say Houston's defense makes some big plays, and I'm going to take the Texans at home in this game.
I like Kansas City just simply because I think Alex Smith's going to outplay Bobby Hoyer.
Yeah, I believe he will too. And like I said, I think he does a good job of not turning the ball over, and Houston feeds on turnovers as well. And let's not forget, I mean, they did bring in Jeremy Maclin at wide receiver, but they also have Travis Kelce, who looks like one of the better up-and-coming tight ends in football. So he still has him as a check-down target, and I think he's going to play a big role in this game as well. And I'm going to say Kansas City covers this line.
Dash's pick of the week. Easy. Who do you got?
I'm going with Houston.
Houston. Short and to the point.
Home defense.
Johnny Parlay also took Houston, so it's 3-2 Houston over Kansas City in this game. What about our next game? This is my pick of the week. The New York Giants roll into Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are at -6. The over-under is 51.5. The Giants struggled on defense last year. They were 29th in yards allowed and 22nd in points per game. Dallas offense, they played well last year. Romo played well. DeMarco Murray led the league in rushing. But they don't have DeMarco Murray anymore. They have no running backs, if you ask me, other than Joseph Randle. The rest of them are just complete garbage. Sorry, Eddie B. But they still got Des Bryant. They signed him to the big deal. Is he going to get 16 touchdowns this year? I don't think so. I don't think Dallas is as good this year as last year. I think a lot of their guys were kind of having career years at the same time. So this is going to be a lot closer game, and this big line is what led me to take this as my pick of the week.
I agree. Like we said earlier, I think the Giants' offense is going to take a step up this season with getting Victor Cruz back. I know he's not back in this game, but I still think they're going to take a step up overall this season. I think Eli Manning's going to have a better season than he did last year. And then you look at Dallas's offense, and like you said, I think Tony Romo had a career year. I don't think he can repeat what he did last season. You got Des Bryant out there, but then really behind him, you don't have much. I mean, you're going to be relying on Jason Witten a lot this season, I believe. But Terrence Williams, he's not a guy that you want to target a lot. And then in the backfield, who knows? You could find someone valuable in this
Christian
backfield.
Michael, too. I shouldn't have hated on him. He's not a bad back.
But let's face it, DeMarco Murray was the focal point of that offense last season, and it's going to be a very different offense without him this year. And I agree, this line is too big for the first game of the season, a rivalry game. This is going to be a tight game in my mind. Dallas may win this game. They may lose this game. Who knows? But they're not going to win by 6 points.
I'll tell you who knows. I know.
What do you know?
Giants are garbage. Eli's garbage. They might take one step forward, like you said, but they're going to take about 8 steps backwards. Dude's playing. He don't even have 5 fingers on his hand. Eli's thrown like 88 interceptions over the last 3 years. Victor Cruz is garbage.
Well, he's not going to be playing in this game. Ruben Randall should be the second wide receiver. And 47 likes this guy. I kind of like him too, but he fell out of the coach's favor late last season and lost time to Preston Parker. So we'll have to see how that works out in the end. But so you're saying Dallas is going to come out and smoke a division rival to begin the season after losing DeMarco Murray?
They'll win by 10, yeah.
Bold prediction. I like the bold prediction, although I don't agree with it. I picked the Giants because, I mean, I know it's at Dallas, and these teams usually trade home and homes, but I don't think Dallas's offense has what it takes to score
Romo
6 more than the Giants do. I just think the Giants' offense can stay at pace with Dallas. Dallas is always taking a step back. Their D is kind of in the same state as last year, and the Giants' offense is better, even though their defense isn't great. So the Giants probably will still lose this game, but I think it's more likely by 3 or 2 points than 6.
47. You say Dallas, huh?
I like Dallas at home.
You love Tony Romo.
Well, I just think Dallas has the better defense. I do just think they're going to outscore them. I mean, 6 points really isn't that much. I mean,
Well, let me ask
Do
you
you
this,
think they're
47.
going to be as good as they were last season offensively? And I'm talking about Dallas.
Not any worse.
Wow, without the league's leading rusher, they're not going
Well,
to be
I'd
any
like
worse.
to think a running
Oh, so
game's
is
good.
Philadelphia going to win the Super Bowl now?
Well,
'Cause they
Dallas
got
didn't
Marcus
win the
Murray?
Super Bowl. I didn't say they were going to win the Super Bowl because they had Murray. I'm just saying their offense doesn't matter who you are. If you get rid of the league's leading rusher, your offense is worse.
Well, they probably have the same offensive line, don't they?
Yeah, but you're going to rely
Put
on
anybody
Darren
behind it.
McFadden or Joseph Randall or
See, I
Christian
agree.
Lance
Lance.
Dunbar, son.
Okay. So
I think-
I bet you right now, whoever runs for Dallas is going to have a 100-yard rushing game.
Well,
This
Would
the
in
you
this
Giants
game,
were
bet that?
29th
Would you
in
bet
yards
that?
allowed
In
last
this
year,
game?
so
Yeah,
freaking
yeah.
47 could have a 100-yard
I'm
rushing
gonna say they
game
do a
against
little
them.
Alright, so
committee
then-
approach, and no one hits 100. But there
well,
might be 100 yards rushing.
They
From
do a committee approach.
combination.
I bet you both of them get 100 yards.
Oh, jeez.
Listen, last year the Giants gave up 25 points a game. Dallas gave up 22 points a game. So there's not as big as a gap in the defense as it seems. The Giants just give up a ton more yards at 375 instead of Dallas's 355. And like I said, I just don't think Dallas's defense got any better. So, I don't know.
So we got 3 on the Giants,
Yeah.
2 on Dallas.
Johnny Parlay is also on the Giants. He's agreeing with me a lot. That's weird. He probably doesn't know what I picked.
I don't think he's going to agree with you here. His pick of the week, who is it?
Parlay pick of the week. Green Bay at Chicago. Green Bay is -7. When I did the research, I seen it's down to -6 already. The over-under is at 50. The Bears' defense was 30th in yards allowed last year and 31st in points per game. So the safest bet here might just be over because the Pack will probably score about 75.
I mean, the loss of Jordy Nelson hurts, but let's remember on Chicago's side, they may be without Elshon Jeffrey. He's questionable at this point. So it could be Eddie Royal as the number 1 target out there. Who knows? Maybe Martellus Bennett if you want to consider him. But I don't even think Chicago is going to be in his game by halftime. I
Yeah,
think they're going
I
to be
completely
passing
agree.
a ton in the second
I was
half.
trying to make it seem like they weren't completely pathetic just so everybody wouldn't tune out already. But yeah, I think you're right.
I think Jay Cutler could have a decent fantasy game. I think Eddie Royal could have a decent
Cutler's going to have to
fantasy
throw
game.
for a ton of yards to even try to compete. So yeah, you're right.
So a lot of that could happen, but Green Bay is still Green Bay, whether they have Jordy Nelson or not, because Randall Cobb's a beast receiver too. Devontae Adams, a up-and-coming receiver as well. They just re-signed James Jones, who should step in as the 3rd receiver immediately. So they still have weapons out there, and let's not forget one of the best running backs in football with Eddie Lacy as well. Although, I mean, Matt Forte on the other side's no slouch himself. But Chicago, they had problems running the ball last season too with Forte. So there's no saying that Forte is going to run for 1,500 yards this season either. I think Green Bay's just too much for Chicago.
Even with this big line and being on the road, I'm still taking Green Bay.
We almost all agree on this, I believe.
Yeah, 47, Green Bay,
Green Bay.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so John, sorry, buddy. You're the only one that took Chicago.
He loves those
Spread
underdogs, man.
solo.
And I don't want to hear you hating on me, Parlay, saying I'm always taking favorites because my first pick this year was an underdog. I know you're listening.
Who? The Giants.
Yeah.
And you'll be 0-1.
Hey, whatever you say.
Talking about spread solos,
Solo. We got 47's pick of the week. Miami at Washington. The Dolphins are favored by 4 to win this game. The over-under is only 43. No respect for the offenses here.
I really should have took this as my pick of the week before 47 did. I really think Miami got this game easily.
I think I'm taking Miami for my survivor pick this week.
It makes sense. I mean, I like what Miami has on the offensive side this year. Tannehill coming back after a great season. You got Lamar Miller in the backfield still. You got, well, Greg Jennings is supposedly the starter right now on one side. You got Kenny Stills and Jarvis Landry out there too, though.
And
So
Devontae Parker?
Devontae Parker, but I don't know if he's going to play this week or not.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We'll have to see what goes on with that. But they also brought in Jordan Cameron as well. So they got a lot of weapons out there. And I think Miami's offense is going to be pretty good this season. And their defense is supposed to be one of the top 5, top 10 defenses this season as well. I think Miami, like KC, is a very well-rounded team. And Washington is in a mess right now.
Yeah, I'm going to sum this up pretty quick for you fans. Daniel Snyder hires Jay Gruden, who benches the Rookie of the Year, who starts Kirk Cousins, who ruins your franchise. Washington, you're beat. Everything you do is garbage. Everything this franchise touches turns to crap. They ruined one of the best players in the league after one of the most exciting rookie seasons of any quarterback's career. Not best, but most exciting. they're just god awful. When you're starting Kirk Cousins at quarterback and you think that's going to get you a victory, Jay Gruden, you need to get into the booth with your dad because you need your head examined. You know nothing about football. You're a horrible coach. You're just a horrible person. Get out of Washington. You're beat.
Well, listen,
It's Miami.
if Kirk Cousins can be better than what we think he is, or if they had a better quarterback, I mean, they have a few weapons out there. Alfred Morris is a good running back. I like Jordan Reed at tight end, and Deshaun Jackson is a big play guy. And if you can find a quarterback that can get the ball downfield consistently, Deshaun Jackson can put up huge numbers. So if Cousins takes a huge step up this season, maybe we're wrong about Washington, but I definitely have to see that first. And easy, you're going solo on this with Washington. Why?
Real quick, doesn't
I'll-
Washington feel like the Oakland Raiders of the East Coast where football players go to die right now? That's just how it feels like.
If there's ever a team that comes into a season with high expectations and lets you down, it's the Miami Dolphins. Okay?
I'll give you that one.
And they're just, over the last 10 years, they should have had some winning records and can't even scratch together a winning record. So I don't care who's a quarterback. Go on the road to Washington, it's going to be hostile there. It's definitely hostile territory. Miami on the road, I don't know exactly what their stats are, but I have no faith in Ryan Tannehill, really. Maybe a couple of games in, they find it and start rolling. Game 1 on the road, Miami.
How many touchdowns? How many touchdowns and interceptions do you think Cousins has in his career?
Touchdowns 2, interceptions 35.
Pretty close. Easy.
It don't matter. That was last year. That was
No, this
2
is
years
his
ago.
career, dude.
That was career years ago then. It don't matter. It's a new year.
He has more interceptions than touchdowns, and I mean that's all you need to know because he's garbage.
Has he ever started out a season with? Has he ever been starting game 1 as the quarterback?
He was after RG3's injury, or did RG3 start? I don't remember. The year after he hurt himself, like the following season.
I thought
think
he had some
made it
starts.
back. He made it back for week 1.
He might have, but Cousins
No, he
has
didn't.
had starts. He just hasn't started week 1 as the starter.
Right. So, surprise.
Yeah,
Kirk
so
Cousins.
there's a
You want
reason
a
why
fantasy
he's never
sleeper.
started week 1 as the starter because
Fantasy
he's garbage.
want a
sleeper. This
fantasy
is
sleeper.
Easy's fantasy sleeper.
Cousin puts up 302 or 3 touchdowns.
Write that down.
You mean 2 or 3 interceptions?
Yeah, right. We'll see.
2 or
We're
3
not even letting
yards.
47 talk about his pick of the week.
We got 8 TVs going. We'll definitely see it.
What do you think, 47?
What's
This
your
is my
opinion?
pick of the week. Washington, terrible, absolutely terrible.
That's it. He summed it up
Okay.
for you. Terrible.
And the thing is I like Miami as one of the up and coming organizations going
Amen.
into this season. Actually, the addition of Sue is going to be huge. Miller is going to be a great at running back. Tannehill is an up and coming player. He could be a potential sleeper this season.
Miami's defense gave up some points last year, but they were good in yards allowed. So if they can shore up their red zone defense, they can be a force. And Ndamukong Suh definitely helps.
Easy, in terms of fantasy, who you starting this week? Ryan Tannehill or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
You're out of your
I just
mind.
told you. But I'll tell you what. Ryan Tannehill is the best spot starting fantasy quarterback in the league. Every time I
He's
put
the
him in,
13th quarterback, huh?
every time I put him in to cover my quarterback's bye week, he puts up
dominates.
numbers. Over the last, I've done it the last 3 years.
Please believe.
I've put him in.
Can't do it this year
'Cause no one
unless
keep-
you picked him.
Yeah, right. Someone picked him.
In the free draft, yeah, he was already traded. He was traded like an hour after the draft.
Yeah.
So wait,
so he's
in your
drafted
in
and
your
traded.
money league, he's still
Dudes
out
don't even
there?
want him.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
No one picked him up in the cash league. No one wants that bum.
Dude, he's a top 12 quarterback in fantasy.
Yeah. That is the fantasy, him being a top rated quarterback in fantasy. He'll never be a fantasy starter.
We'll see if he's in the
Never.
top. See what he was in last year. I bet you he was in the top 12 quarterbacks, but he's going to be in the top 12 again this season.
Agreed. But that's it. We're wrapping it up. That's the first pick show of the year for you. You fans can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Follow me on Twitter at betjimtowin. If you agree or disagree with any of these picks, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/betthespread. Comment on our YouTube page. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Just have YouTube playing on your phone all day. Spread all day. We got like 350 episodes now. 1 year anniversary next week. Bring it.
2 stacks on New England.